That song that you just heard a little clip of rattles my nerves because it reminds me of the closest I've gotten to taking that ultimate step of no return of committing suicide. I mean, of the 3 times I've seriously thought about it in my life, the closest I've gotten was literally turning on my car, pulling out of the parking lot, and finding a place to end my life. I had gotten to a point where that day, just so much stuff had been building up. I mean, the idea of being a second-class citizen, hearing the phrase, "that's so gay," hearing the phrase, "that's so gay," all around me. Issues with my folks, issues with my sibling. Not doing so well in some of my classes. I just got to this point where I just kind of slipped into a zombie mode. And I went out to my car, and I put the keys in the ignition, fully with the plan, the intent, to end it. And I wasn't even really feeling anger or pain at that time, I don't think. It was almost an autopilot. My emotions were gone. I was tired of everything. But I mean, obviously I didn't commit suicide. To this day, that song, it rattles me because when I was in that zombie mode, something about it was just like I was standing on like the edge of a building where my toes were literally hanging over the edge, and all that was in front of me was empty air. All it took would be one step forward, a couple of inches, and I would be dead. Hit the concrete, splat. I mean, obviously it stopped, and obviously I stopped myself because I couldn't do that to my mom. I couldn't. And the thought of, what about my future partner? What if I'm not there for her? How is it fair to her that I'm not there? Because at that point I still believed in fate. I pulled the keys out of the ignition, and I cried my eyes out, and I just compromised with myself that rather than killing myself, I would slash and slash and slash. I don't know how much I cut that day, I don't know how much I bled, but that was the compromise. I wouldn't take that final step. Instead, I would slash open my body to hurt myself, to get rid of the pain, to get all those energies out. Beyond that, I mean, in high school I had a time where I did come close. I was not in that final step mindset, but I sat outside in a t-shirt and jeans when it was 17 degrees out, and I did lose my sight for like a second before I came to my senses and went back inside and warmed up. And then later in college, there was just a day where grades and nervousness about my future and my stupid ex-girlfriend and issues that happened with my stupid ex-girlfriend were just piling up on me, and the thought crossed my mind again. And I think that day I ended up slamming my wrists against steel poles as a way to get out the energy. And you know those warnings that come on antidepressants? For the short time I was on an antidepressant, the thoughts of suicide it was easier for them to come into my brain. And I don't know if it's like that for all people who are on antidepressants or who have bad reactions to them, but it was just easier for those thoughts to come into my head. I mean, it's a scary thought, being in that mental space where you're this close. I mean, even now I look back on it, I don't have any journals or anything to think about or look at today, but just thinking back in that picture in my mind of standing on an edge, it's scary. I remember a couple months after I had my incident where I came so close, a friend of mine and I were driving in her car, and that song came on, and it scared the hell out of me. The thought that I was in that state of mind where I was staring down the barrel of a 45, obviously in a different way, and that I was that close. I won't necessarily say that life is hunky-dory, because it isn't. Life remained hard since that day. It's gotten better, obviously. It's gotten better. But life was hard. And life continued to be hard. But I've never been that close ever since. I think it's because of that drive. And because of the realization. I don't know if it was because of mentorship from my aunt and uncle, or from my parent, or from my mom and my dad. I mean, he's gotten better, or what. But it's just like, okay, you know what? This is life. If it's hell, sorry. But we gotta do what we can to make it better for the people who are coming along after us. If we don't make it better for them, then our lives are basically in vain. What keeps me going? What keeps me living? I have no choice. That's just it. I have no choice. If I die tomorrow, then that's okay with me. I've made my peace. I mean, it sucks for those who I'm leaving behind, but you know what? This is life. You gotta live it, no matter how it is. Try to steer it in a positive direction as much as you can. But I guess I'm rambling on and trying to say that, you know, if you really feel that that's your only option, talk to somebody. And I have no right to tell somebody else not to, but for your own sake, talk to somebody before you go through with it. It helps. Maybe you'll be able to find that light. Maybe you'll be able to find something that will stop you from it. But ultimately, it is your decision. Just like it was ultimately my decision to pull the keys out of the ignition. I have my reasons for being alive today, from that point into now, for my own reasons of life now. Just like everybody else does. Ultimately, it is a personal choice. A personal choice that nobody should have removed from them. But if an individual needs to make an informed decision. So, peace out. This is Raven Blaze, and anybody out there who's contemplating it, talk to somebody. At least bounce your ideas off somebody else. I know that can be hard sometimes when you feel like nobody else wants to listen to you, or that there's nobody there. But you know what? There's lots of people out here, even if it's just a person you've never met from across the globe, who's saying, hey, I'm here to listen. There are lots of us out here. Peace out.